In this particular video, we are going to cover complete .NET framework overview. Basically, what I am trying to cover here is the different terminology which is used in context of .NET. That means I would say in short, the terms which we come across whenever we do any kind of talking, or let's say whenever we do any kind of programming about .NET. So .NET terminology is the basic target of this particular video. So see, this is basically the vision of .NET. .NET basically has evolved very widely on internet. Now you see here we have got laptop, handheld devices, desktop, small devices, PDAs, mobile phones. For all kind of devices we have got support for .NET. That means user can use any device, any place, and at any time through internet they can connect to the respective servers. On these servers we are going to install something called as web services, about which we are going to talk later sometime. But yes, these web services are then going to use the servers on the server applications, which in turn will connect to the local advanced data processing systems here, back office applications we call it. So these back office applications which were earlier local, were not exposed to the world, now with the help of web services are going to make themselves available to the whole world via internet. So the vision of .NET is any device, any application, any place we should be able to communicate and use the application. That's the big vision of .NET. Now what I would basically want to start with, what we can do with .NET. See, I would say in the industry we have got two types of programmer. One we call it as system programmer and the other we call it as application programmer. System programmers are the one who are going to program device driver kind of applications. I would say who are going to program applications which will directly talk to the hardware, which will send low level instructions to the hardware and which will get output in the low level format from the hardware, and then they would basically sit between the operating system and the hardware. We have operating system, we have hardware, in between we will have device drivers kind of program which are going to be useful by the operating system for communicating with the hardware. So this is one category of programmer. The other programmer category is application programmer. People who would develop something like Notepad, Paintbrush, or calculator or calendar, or let us say somebody wants to develop office kind of application or accounting packages or any kind of day-to-day requirement of a routine person, an ordinary person, which we can do through system. We can say those are application programming. Those are applications. So I would simply say that anything which falls under the category of application programming, .NET programmer can do. See, I'm giving a wide vision about .NET. You think of what type of application some of your friend would need, or probably your parents would need, or probably your colleague would need, or your boss would need, or you would need. And if that falls under the application category, and if it doesn't fall in category like giving low level instructions to the hardware, I would say yes, the solution is ready-made, that is .NET. So we have a very wide series of applications what one can develop in .NET. So it is up to you how much wide you can think of, to what extent you can think of. In the context of application programming, everything we can do in .NET. Now, before we get into the .NET terminology, there are two important terms which we have to clearly understand. One is a platform and the other is a framework. Mind you, most of the people would say platform is an operating system. No, not necessary. Operating system is always referred as platform, or platform is referred as operating system. Operating system is operating system and platform is over and above that operating system. I would explain more in detail in the next slide, but yes, platform is the environment in which we can develop and execute software applications. If I want to develop an application, I need certain environment. If I want to execute the application, I need certain environment. So we have got platform for it. Remember, platform also we say development platform, production platform. Now what is the difference between development platform and production platform? Development platform is the place where we develop our application, our in-house software development, where the developers, the programmers are going to sit and write code. That environment we call it as development environment. When the product is ready for release to the end user, and when it executes on the target machine live, going live with live data, live input, live output, then that kind of environment is referred as production environment. So we have got environment, we have got platform, we can say development platform and production platform. Over and above this, what is a framework? See, I'll put it this way. Suppose imagine I want to make a building of something like 15 floors. I have been given as an architect two options. One is I'm given a plain land and I'm asked to exploit as I want it and make a building of 10 floors on that. The second option is I'm given a extremely strong ready-made foundation. Somebody has already put a foundation for me. Over and above that foundation, let us also say that ground floor, first floor, second floor is ready. And now my responsibility is, which is something which is already existing, I need to improvise, I need to extend it and make it up to 10 floors. Obviously, from these two options, one is plain land, you have the option of doing everything. Second is something ready-made and you have to extend it. Which one do you think is a better solution? I would say second option is much better than the first one. No doubt in the first one, we get the advantage of exploiting the knowledge of ours to the way we want it. But that in that process, something very important is we need to be very, very, very experienced and very, very, very intelligent. Our one step wrong in the first thing would collapse the whole system, will collapse the whole building. Let us say I don't put foundation, I don't make proper pillars, the whole building will collapse. But whereas in the second option, the advantage is I am already saying there is something extremely strong existing. There is something existing which is very strong, which is very reliable, which is very much extendable, something which is already existing. So even if I am little novice, I would be able to extend the second one rather than doing something from scratch as in the first one. So I would say this is basically the difference between the programming practice in way back, let us say 80s, 90s and now. Earlier, when people used to develop programs or applications using C, they used to do everything from ground up. So they had the option of deciding what architecture they would use, what are the tools they are going to use, how they are going to extend, but then they are supposed to be very, very, very intelligent. Whereas today, in the day of .NET, things are different. We now extend the application from something which is already existing. We now improve the application on something which is already existing. So what I say is, in the second option, we have got a ready-made framework. We have got ready-made structure. So that is what is a framework. Framework is ready to use collection of classes and interface used for developing a particular type of application. Some services, certain classes, certain interfaces which are already there for extending the application is what we are calling it as a framework. So two important terms here. One is a platform, the other is a framework. Framework is something which is existing on which we have to extend the application. Framework is the architecture is ready-made. The architecture is available in the form of ready-to-use classes and interfaces, and these are what we have to improvise. These are what we have to extend. So something which is already existing will give us an idea, will give us an approach of how to extend. That is the advantage of the framework. So now when I say .NET framework,